Hola. Hi, everyone. I'm Lucrezia. So today I'm going to provide a point of view from Google on what I consider to be the next frontier of AI, which is agents. Just by show of hands, how many people are familiar with the concept of AI agents? Great. How many of you have actually tested or built any agents? OK. How many people are excited about agents? Hopefully everyone. OK, great. So there's going to be a little surprise in my session, because I'm actually going to run a live demo of our agents. So that should be cool. So just to set the scenes, this is what we mean at a very high level with agents, the concept of agents. If we think about a large language model, it's a very powerful model where tokens go in the form of a prompt, so like a question that we ask. And then tokens go out as an answer. With agents, there's a bit of a paradigm shift, because there are more things that happen before the agent that is powered by a large language model gives us an answer. So tokens go in, but then there are other things. Agents can take actions. Actions are things like they can interact with other systems, they can call other functions, they can call other applications altogether. And if we want to make that system much more complex and elaborate, we can have agents that call other agents. But all of these complexities kind of removed away. At least that's our vision as Google. For an end user, you would still see prompt in and question out, but behind the scenes, there's so much more that happens. And that's what we're going to see working today. So from a Google perspective, I just wanted to flesh out a few key differentiators that I think make our agents very powerful. First of all, agents are by definition grounded. So if you're familiar with the term RAG, retrieval augmented generation, someone earlier asked about hallucinations and how LLMs hallucinate. Well, one of the ways to make them not hallucinate or reduce that risk is to ground them, and we ground them via RAG. With our agents that we will see today, we have connectors to proprietary data that will never leave the perimeter of an organization. And for healthcare specifically, maybe this is relevant more to like the larger organizations, but we connect to systems like Viva, which is a huge, very important provider for healthcare and life sciences organizations. The second one that I think that's how Google became Google is grounding with search. So when you have an LLM, you can ground it on your data, right, doing RAG. But then what if you don't have the answers you're looking for within your data? Then you can have the agent run a Google search for you and get additional information. And so now you're blending your internal repository of information, but you're also pulling from the world knowledge using grounding on Google search. Then you have tools. I will showcase you a simple tool like having an agent sending an email. But that's the most simplistic example of that. You can think of tools as pretty much everything. You can connect your agent to any upwards or downwards system so that it can make decisions on your behalf. And you can automate it more or less, depending on what you want to do. And then finally, models. Agents leverage a variety of models. So you don't have to pick one. You can have sub-agents, each of which uses a different model, because maybe they're using fine-tuned models that solve very well for a very specific task. And so you would have an orchestrator agent that calls specialized agents to resolve very, very specific problems. So who can benefit from agents? This is what we've seen so far. And I'm working with a couple of the largest organizations in life sciences that already fleshed out use cases that are implementing now using agents. So we have what I call the horizontal functions. So the knowledge workers, anyone that has to deal with a large corpus of information and is trying to get some insights out of it. So clearly sales, like sales reps, medical reps from life sciences companies that want to customize their messaging, they can do it with agents. Compliance teams They want to review regulations and see what kind of changes they need to make to their current documents or to their communications so that they are sure that they are respecting regulations. Marketing, of course, you can generate, as we will see later, you can generate text, generate images, even generate videos. But then there are also some business unit-oriented use cases. And this is where I think the edge can be created for life sciences organizations. Because think about a clinical trial. How long it takes to identify who do you want to have in the trial? Where are you going to run it? What's the optimal way to set that up? What kind of communications are you going to send out to potential patients and participants to this trial? All of this can be streamlined and automated thanks to agents, but those agents will need to be able to understand the specific terminology of healthcare and life sciences. And so those are the agents that I will show you today. Agents that actually understand what asthma means, or what protein means, or what molecule means. So in terms of vision, what I'll show you today is a software. It's like an application. It's called Agent Space. And the way we think about it is a tool for business people, so for knowledge workers. They won't need to be able to code if they don't want to. And they will have this repository of agents. They will use different agents depending on what they're trying to solve for. And we already offer some pre-built agents, but then you will be able to bring your own agents and just expose them through this Agent Space platform. Of course, we all know we also want to build our own agents, because maybe we have a proprietary model that no one else has, so we want our agent to take advantage of that specific model. And you can do that too. So the way it works in our mind is, the lower level is if you have a team that knows how to code, if you have your own engineers, your proprietary models, then build the agent yourself with a framework and then expose it upwards to the business functions. And so basically, in terms of data, data can come from, well, if you're on Google, sources like BigQuery. But if your data is somewhere else, it doesn't matter, because what matters is that the agent is like the core and will make connections to whatever data, whatever applications or data sources or databases you have where your data resides. You will also be able to call third-party agents, agents that you've developed somewhere else, not on Google. And then finally, the knowledge workers won't have to see all the complexity that happens below. They will just be able to use very specialized agents that have been created for them. And just a couple of words here. I won't go into details, but as you know, recently, Google DeepMind and our CEO of DeepMind, Demis Hassabis, won a Nobel Prize for AlphaFold 3 in biology. And that was amazing. We were all very, very excited. But there's so much more at Google that is happening, also thanks to Demis and his idea of helping the world through AI. And so in Google Health, and with the partnership of DeepMind, there's actually a plethora of models and APIs that, through the years, we've built to allow people to make sense of medical data. For example, if you're familiar with the data management, the data formats for healthcare, like FHIR or DICOM, these are very, very complex data formats. Usually, you're not able to just read those formats, because in one case, it's images, quite complex images. In the other case, it's very, very big JSON files. But we have APIs that already for years were able to read those files. So that means that now you can create agents that, just out of the box, are able to read very, very complex file types. And on top of that, you can put the LLM intelligence. So this is a bit of the vision that we see for life sciences and healthcare. And now, let me jump to the demo. It was quite an experience today, because when I arrived, they told me, there's no way that you can run the demo today here. But I was like, no, we have to do it. So the team helped me, and we'll be able to do it. So thank you for that. Okay, what you're seeing here is agent space. As I said to you before, it's an interface, it's a tool, very simple, you don't need to do any coding. The coding happens behind the scenes. You can fully personalize it, so I just created a logo there, but that could be your own logo up here. And the idea is that here, where you see literature and patient data, you will have all of the data sources that you decide you want to leverage when you create these agents. And this is very secure. This is an enterprise-ready tool, which means that if we were a team, each of us, and I have access only to some, for example, tables in SharePoint or Salesforce or whatever other application you want to connect, and then there's a teammate of mine, we both have access to agent space, but because of the access controls that we've already set up, I will always, even when I make that connection, I will always see the data that I have access to. And so it's the same for him. And this is very, very important once you start scaling this idea of agents. Once you start giving agents to everyone, you also need to make sure that within your organization, not everyone will be able to work with everyone else's data, right? So this is baked in. So I can start asking questions. For example, tell me about asthma. And it doesn't really matter if I misspell it. So the answer that it's giving is grounded. It's grounded in the data, and when it finishes, you will see that we had some links popping up. The links are popping up because each of these sentences is coming from a data source that I have within my knowledge repo. That's super important, especially if you're creating reports and you want them to be precise. I'm working with a team of people in medical affairs, and they told me, we need to make sure that whatever is written in that report, it's amazing. We can save like weeks and weeks of work now with this to create agents. But we need to make sure that the report tells me exactly where it took the information from, right? Because it's a matter of regulation. And so that's why you will see that throughout the report, you have these links. And everything that's been said here is factual. And I was having a discussion yesterday, actually, someone asked me, well, but in research papers, this is amazing, because then you would just pull out all of the sources and you would make your appendix. We all remember reading the research papers where you had like the last 20 pages of lists of other references. You can do it so much more quickly in this way. And then I can ask follow-up questions. I can say, I want to make a campaign about asthma. Help me write a short message for social media. So as you can see, the agent also keeps, he has memory, he has understanding, like this conversation is continuing. I keep on seeing my data sources. Where does the information come from? And so it makes something funny, short, as I asked. I said social media, so it's including hashtags. Very good. Now let's say, create a photorealistic image of happy people jogging. Let's say I want to say, asthma is not such a big problem, there are ways to treat it, so be happy and go for a run, and maybe, with my solutions, you can actually do that. Let's say we're creating this little marketing campaign. Maybe it's a bit pixelated because of the screens, but the quality is amazing, and this was a one shot, and it's not even an image model. This is Gemini, and this is already the performances we can get. But then let's say I want to ask something, an information that doesn't exist in my data repo. And I want to switch languages, because why not? These models are very smart. I would expect that they can do it just like that. So, ¿cuánta gente sufre de asma en España? Apologies for my Spanish, but hopefully we'll get it. But I don't have this data in my data repo. So it will tell me, lo siento, I don't have this data. And this is a proof that this is not a kind of model that if it doesn't have the information that you decided to pull from, it won't just hallucinate and make up a number. It's very, very grounded. And this is the proof. I'm sorry, I cannot tell you. But this is where grounding with search comes into play. When I turn that toggle on and I ask the same question, this now can go above just the information that it's grounded on, and it can go out on the internet. So I can say, ¿cuánta gente sufre de asma en España? And now, if all goes well, it gives me an answer. Why? Because you could search it on the web. And also, as you can see here, the links now are no longer the links from my internal data, because this is going out on the web. And it actually found this page that's talking about how many people are suffering from this here. So this is an incredible technology. The other thing that this technology can do, and the agent that I told you about, that we are one of the agents that we are launching, this is the first one that is available, it's called the Research Assistant. And you can use it to do very deep research on specific topics. So I've run this before, and I said, create a report for asthma using the research you find in my data, as well as other information. So I'm not going to run it live because they gave me the 5 minutes, so maybe now it's more like 2. But what this agent does is it makes a plan of action, so it can autonomously decide, given a question, make a report about asthma. It says, OK, what are the things that I would need to search for if I want to create a report? And it does it autonomously. So it creates all of these steps of things that it thinks it should look for. For each of the research steps, it carries them out by using a blended search between the data that I have, that are my proprietary data, and also sometimes, if it needs, it will go out in the web in this case. It makes all of these steps that I can check and I can change. So if I don't agree with the plan, I don't have to just take it out of the box. I can actually read through and say, yes, I agree with your research approach, or I don't. And then, off the back of that, it creates a final report. And after that, it says, well, if you're bored and you don't want to read, you can listen to it.
Hey, so you want to know about asthma? Think of your lungs like tiny balloons. They inflate and deflate with each breath. In asthma, those balloons get a little sticky and inflamed. This makes breathing harder, leading to wheezing, coughing, and shortness of breath. It's like trying to blow up a balloon that's already partly inflated and covered in glue. Globally, around...
So this is kind of, in a nutshell, what's going on in the world of Google AI, our agents grounded on medical data. This is just the beginning. This technology is already out there. Companies are actively implementing solutions with this, not only saving time from their people, but actually, especially in your sector, making a real change in people's lives. I thank you for your attention. I will be here at the back of the room. If you want to grab me, we can have a chat about this or any other Google AI-related things. And also for startups, we do have some great programs, and there's a colleague of mine that works very closely with startups here in Spain. So if you want to speak with us, you'll find us at the back of the room. Thank you.